And a lot of times when we prepare to receive feedback, sometimes that feedback is not great or you don't really welcome it. What was it like for you to digest that feedback? How did you just initially take that?
Julie asked me, she said, were you a little bit fearful of the feedback that you might receive? And I said, I wasn't at all. I didn't think that I would get feedback that was around attributes that I wasn't already aware of. Your format just made a lot of sense to me. Like here's the areas that you do really, really well, like as you call it, in the zone. And I thought that was really an interesting way to frame the things that you do well, your strengths. Like when you're in the zone, so what are the things that cause you to not be in the zone? Or what are the things that you need to start doing? What are the things that you need to stop doing? Interesting thing was there was no feedback that I heard and said, oh, that's not true, or I was defensive about. All of it was really, really thoughtful.
Even though it wasn't all roses, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of like, oh, wow, that is true. If I can give an example, one of the positives is that, I really have command of the data and I really understand it and I really understand the business and I can explain it to you. But then sometimes I explain it to a degree that just loses the audience. And I was like, wow, I can immediately place myself in situations where I thought, why am I losing this audience a little bit? And it was probably because I gave them too much. I didn't summarize it in a way that the listener could understand it.
So you can overwhelm people. Your biggest asset, one of your biggest assets, actually becomes a little bit of a handicap when people don't stay with you. And so you have to figure out a way to connect them. And I call it friction interference, ways that you can cause friction interference or static from your greatest strength and actually how you influence the organization.
It's interesting. I had lunch with one of the people that you interviewed last week. They said, I hope Roger shared with you that I was happy for you to know all this was attributed to my feedback. And one of the things that struck me about our conversation was I met with this person every single week for probably 2 of the 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And they had never shared some of this information with me.
Right.
And one of the things was they said, people really root for you. She said, this is not usual that you have a majority of people who really, really want you to do well.
Yeah.
And they're fans of yours, but leverage that and don't sabotage the fact that people want you to do well. We talked about like a certain scenario where, I may have sabotaged this person's desire to help and support me. And I was like, wow. And that has been really, really helpful as I go into this new role. I can be very self-deprecating. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not necessary.
I use that word a lot with my clients, and it's a little bit of a shocking word, self-sabotage. The idea that we're doing it to ourselves is sometimes we're not aware of.